10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Live right now on Competition Plus TV, on Competition Plus Facebook, as well as Competition Plus Twitter. This is the Competition Plus Power Hour. Sorry, I'm hearing myself as I got it going on the other screen and getting the feedback. I'm not the only one you're going to get feedback from. My co-host, friend, pal, brother from another mother, and any other term you might want to throw in there, Slammin' Sam, all the way from the great northern land, live.
Man, I'm just happy we're not under 36 inches of snow like was coming down last week, Lee. I got stuck in the house Tuesday night after the show, all day Wednesday and all day Thursday, got out Thursday night. But hey, man, you get to talk drag racing, and we're back again on the 73rd. Can you believe this? 73 episodes of you and I, and little mix in with Darren and everyone else yakking it up about drag racing on this platform. I mean, again, thanks to Bobby Bennett for trusting us at the helm of this, but 73 episodes.
73, 75. That's like anniversary numbers coming up here pretty soon.
Right.
Give or take,
I mean,
because, you know, I
missed a couple.
Well, but also, like, the count might be off just slightly. We had a couple of Christmas episodes in there that weren't numbered and like what was going on, but we're right in the 70 bubble.
Man, we're gonna have to throw up like a huge, like reunion come 75, but then the 100th episode, like everyone's gonna have to drink, and we're just gonna have a who knows. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves, Lee. We get to talk drag racing tonight. To all you guys out there, Facebook and on YouTube and Twitter, please like, share, hit that share button, get it out to everybody that you can, man. But Lee, are you ready for stop 5 of the NHRA 2022 schedule? I mean, we are rapidly approaching what I hate to say is going to be the last race there in Houston, but I mean, we are rapidly approaching, heading down to the great state of Texas, because God bless Texas with his own hands. And we're going to talk a little bit more Texas later tonight. But stop number 5 on the NHRA tour.
Man, it has so far been a great season. I think in every shape, form, and fashion, it's living up to the hype, no matter what the category, especially Top Fuel, obviously. But great storylines going into Houston. Yes, it definitely is sad. We've got the last national event going into Houston Raceway Park. But the good thing is that most of the time, these last ones are some of the best ones. And I definitely think memories are going to be made, and we're going to step away from this national event in Houston and say that was a good one, and we sent it off with a bang. Maybe not literally in drag racing, because things do go bang, but hopefully, yes, we can send it off with a bang. And already some cool things are going to happen at Houston. Apparently on Friday there's a press conference, and John Force Racing has some unveiling to do. So just stay tuned to all the drag racing channels. Looking forward to seeing what is going to be happening there with JFR and Houston, and what it might mean for the rest of the sport. I would love to see a particular day in drag racing, or weekend in drag racing, as many other sports have, where we get to see a glimpse of what was, if you catch my drift, Slammin' Sam.
Yeah, what was, what used to be. But I mean, my prediction and my hope for all this, Lee, is no matter how far down this road we take it, and what we think, that someday in the future that there will be another Baytown, there will be another Houston. You know what I mean? Like as much as, there will be another Atlanta. I mean, we those tracks mean so much to so many people, and especially I can say in our generation, that's what we grew up seeing. That's what we grew up watching. So, I mean, just so much to, talk about. And when we sit here and talk about tracks that are closing or on the verge of closing, the fight that's going down at Palm Beach right now, Palm Beach International Raceway. I mean, you have a young group of kids, in our age group. I mean, myself being 31, but this is led by a 25-year-old car enthusiast that, has a group of friends that have cars, and they're saying, hey, you know what? We're not going to let this track. We're not going to let another track go down without a fight. And to me, that's really cool because it's now showing that what our parents had and, what our grandparents had and installed in us with just liking cars, taking us to the track, is now paying off where you have younger generations wanting to keep tracks open.
Yes, and, depending on what sources you look at, there is good numbers on tracks open overall and functioning and participating and, folks going out there and using old airstrips. I think what we have had here recently is that we've had high-profile tracks close and go by the wayside, and we're waiting for other tracks to step up in such a profile or tracks to feel such a profile to be built. And that remains, are we in the time, are we in the economy, or are we in the place where tracks such as that can replace Atlanta, replace a Houston Raceway Park, replace what will in time will be losing, Phoenix, Wild Horse Pass. So that's what remains to be seen. There's rumors. There's certainly tracks that can have improvements made. We had Jim on, and he mentioned Tucson. So very well, that might be an option. Tulsa's always on the board. Overall, I think the sport is healthy. And one way in which I think the sport is healthy, Sam, and I want to bring you on the screen for this one. Dude, this past weekend, I was at a little track that I had heard nothing ever about, even though I'd gone by it dozens of times. They have been holding a Easter Sunday Funny Car Classic race for 58 years. 58 years of funny car racing.
On Easter. Resurrection.
On Easter Sunday. In Virginia.
Okay.
And East Side Speedway, they're in Waynesboro, Virginia. They had 6 funny cars there, just like a little match race type deal, Chicago style, 2 rounds, great show. But it wasn't just the funny cars. The Foot Brake and Super Pro, those bracket classes, we're talking about like 80 cars on a Sunday at a local drag strip. They didn't have any more room to put cars. And then not even just the cars, Sam, I'm not exaggerating. There had to be at least 30 motorcycles at this local track drag racing. I've never seen so many motorcycles at a non-motorcycle event in my life. And then there was like 20 junior dragsters for this event. And not only was it filled with competitors, but their stands, even though they weren't big stands, they were packed, sold out of event t-shirts. It was the show in town for that weekend. 58 years. 58 years. So there are bright spots in this sport.
There's a lot of hidden gems that I think a lot of us don't know about or, fail to realize. And I think you're going to start seeing more and more of these opportunities come about, or come to light because of what's going on. With the closure of tracks, you're going to see people traveling more, and you're going to see people doing a lot of different things than what we're used to. But what I can say is the bike number that you mentioned does not surprise me. These bike classes are growing. I've told you this many of times that I don't think I would ever get on one after seeing my brother flip his Hayabusa, but people enjoy them. I mean, I personally, like I said, will never get on one. Hats off to anyone that does, but the bike class is one of those ones that I can say honestly, if you have an inkling of wanting to ride a bike, or you have that, you already have that desire and you're already a bike enthusiast, it's fairly inexpensive to kind of start hopping these bikes up. So I think that's why we're seeing a lot more of that. But we're also starting to see a lot more of these streetcar classes grow and grow. I mean, those classes are becoming more popular. Tracks are understanding that, and some bracket racing, the grudge racing and the streetcar racing now is taking over what that bracket class has been for years. And that's nothing to take away from what the bracket classes have been, but the streetcar classes and the bikes are really starting to, take off heavy. And it just shows what TV shows are doing, what's popular in the media, and what we get out there is really helping grow drag racing in the right way.
Yes, for sure. Now, speaking of growth, and someone that helped grow the sport tremendously, one of the key players, period, and Bobby mentioned this in our private chat, but what do you think about Don Garlits having to license up and get prepared to break some speed records in his electric dragster? He did it at old Roy Hill School, too.
You said one word there, Lee. One word, and you got me. You had me. The article had me. I was really looking forward to it. Then you said that E word, and it wasn't Erica. You know how I feel about those things. I understand that they are the future of our sport, but someday I will get in tune with them. But I'm happy that he has to license. I mean, that's a great fact there, but I need something with a little bit more noise. You know what I mean?
Don't you find it a little strange, though? We have this multi-time champion over like 3 different series, some defunct now, that is pioneer of the sport, a trailblazer of the sport, done it all in the sport, and even he has got to go and get licenses.
Yeah, bro, safety is safety. I still have to pay my car tabs, right? Still got to have insurance. Safety, man. You cannot, there's nothing you can do to cut out safety, period. So, I mean, I'm 100% with keeping your license current, keeping everything, your physicals, anything like that. I totally understand that. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't even matter if you're the guy that writes a million articles on this magazine and has this platform that's called Competition Plus. You still got to keep everything current.
And, speaking of articles, I mean, Competition Plus always, but I've noticed here lately just killing it. Bobby has on the team with current relevant articles, such as Big Daddy Don Garlits and the licensing there with Roy Hill, or even today, Jason Bunker being announced, added to the Paul Lee Racing team there. And also beyond just the NHRA world, I love the article with the Voss boys talking about purchasing the Mountain Motor Pro Stock car. The Voss family, they have been getting it done in drag racing in many different ways, and engine building, and they've got the carbon fiber wheelie bars that they're producing now, and many other carbon fiber products. But nonetheless, yes, good stories coming out from Competition Plus. So if you're not swinging around and actually checking out the website, yes, I mean, go beyond Facebook, go beyond Twitter, go beyond the show here, and check out literally at competitionplus.com. If you're not doing that occasionally, you are missing out.
100%, Lee. And there you go. John brings it up. Pilots have to renew their license. They have to stay current. So, I mean, it's all for the safety, and I know you understand that. But, I mean, I don't know, Lee. I think at this point, we need to just bring on our pit insider and see how he feels or what he thinks about it.
Well, the nuance to it was Don didn't seem to have a problem with licensing back up, but he had to go through the steps normally, like, go to 330, then go to the next stage, and then go to the next stage. And it's like, man, this is the man that got over, 270 first, and so on and so on.
Lee, it's just like the Common Core math of today. You got to show your work, man. You can't just show
your work. Yes,
you got to show your work, man. I mean, no, it is what it is. I mean, the answer could be right in front of you. You know what the answer is, but got to show your work.
That's right.
And I'm just glad I didn't have to do that when I was in school, because some of that stuff is like, man, I don't know. I just know the answer's right there. I know where the starting line is, and I know where the finish line is. That's all I need to know.
Hey, that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. Well, look, before we take the first break and bring Bobby on tonight's show, Ed Federkeil, we're going to have him on, competition eliminator competitor. Definitely want to talk to him about the class in general, but he's also got an announcement that has been made. We're going to let him even make that announcement again concerning a partnership that he's got for the remainder of the year. And then multi-time Pro Stock champion winner, the lady in red herself, Erica Enders, will be on as well. So a pretty good show lined up for tonight, Sam.
Yeah, definitely. Great show lined up for tonight, Lee. And I just want to say, you remember what we talked about last week, Lee?
Well, I talked about a lot of many things last week. It all kind of runs together on which show and when and what I said.
But I just want you to know, we talked about what the best class in NHRA drag racing is right now.
Yes.
And now we have, I just want to remind you. Just want to remind you.
Okay.
It's what the people want, Lee. It's what the people want.
It's what the people want.
They want to hear from the best class, the best drivers in the sport. So,
you know what the people really want? They want to get pumped up. That's what they want. They want to get pumped up with Weldon pumps. Weldon pumps for your high-performance pumping applications. You need them. Some of the top guys in the sport are using them, and they also make airplane pumps. And those things should not fail, and you don't need them to fail. So if they can make an airplane pump, they can definitely make a race car pump. Check out Weldon pumps. Bobby Bennett, what do you got, man? You're muted. Everybody
take a drink. Everybody. Bobby, come on. Everybody take a drink.
Damn,
and I can tell you,
I've done that today. I did.
Yeah, I'm about
to
say you got our information. You did that earlier today.
Even Ed's taking a drink. I saw that. Shout out to Ed for doing that.
Guys, I thank you for recognizing the team that has been bringing it here, and we bring it every day. And these guys better count their blessings that we don't drag race, because I'm gonna tell you what, we come out there with a banana boat with wheels and go 340 miles an hour. I promise you that, because we're very serious of it and at what we do. And when we're at the races, people say, let's go out party, let's go do this. And so no, I'm going back to the hotel because I got to be at the racetrack at 7. Because if we're going to spend that time away from our families, we owe it to them to be the best that we can be. And that's what we bring every time. The person that can't get to the race, that can't see the race, we are their eyes and ears and legs to get all around the pits and all. So I guess Paul Lee's team, they announced Jason Bunker. That was going to be one of my lead items. And what you'll notice now is there's really been a run on crew chiefs this year. And, because there was a time when a team had a crew chief and that was enough. Well, now you got co-crew chiefs on multiple teams. So that's really nothing new. But what is new is that you're seeing a younger demographic of crew chief coming in, and the Jason Bunker. I call him kid. He's old enough. He's very well a man, but I call him a kid because he's a next generation of tuner. And, if the Bunker name sounds familiar, just remember the old Folsom Flash, which was a pro gas car, which led up to a pro mod car. Remember the old green blown 55 Chevy that the family used to run. So I want to see the look on your faces when I tell you my next tidbit. So don't leave me out on the island here. What if I told you that there's banter going around that we may not be losing Houston at the end of this season?
It wouldn't surprise me.
There is talk.
It would not.
There is talk.
And
don't be the guy that bought Tom Brady's last touchdown pass football.
Yes.
So I'm just telling you. I mean, that's good news. On the other side, I don't know if Palm Beach International Raceway is looking too good. We've got a story coming up on that. And this thing is kind of give and take. I really don't know what to make of the Palm Beach International Raceway. Joe Costello's been working with Tracy Rink, our senior editor, on an article that will come out soon. And another article that'll be coming out soon where Gary Densham explains why he did what he did at the NHRA Las Vegas 4-wide. And why it may be the end to his racing team on the NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series.
Yes, from what information I have on that, and definitely I look forward to the article, just seems so strange. And the numbers on what was laid down to that particular operation would be a death knell, it seemed like. Yeah.
Now, the question is, Gary alleges that the NHRA officials watched him do this and watched him make a run, which I would question if it's a safety hazard. Why would you let a car run that you know is unsafe or deemed unsafe enough to find the team? So still some more investigation needs to be made. Some questions need to be asked. Those are, of course, they're allegations. And until we have an official word from the NHRA on this, it just becomes it remains an allegation, just like with the Houston race. God knows it. All the stuff we hear in this office that never sees the light of day. But boy, it sure is entertaining, But I don't know. I could see a scenario coming out where Houston gets to race a few more years. Like maybe if the current owners of the track aren't ready to do the conversion, that they may rent the track to the Angel family to run. But again, that's all hearsay. That's all rumors, and that's what we love to delve in. All of us, we love to talk about stuff, and so that those are a few things that are coming around, and there's always rumors about Reading, that reportedly Kenny Koretsky has purchased the track, but
right.
Until Kenny says it, it ain't happening.
Right.
Yeah. Kenny, did you buy Reading? I don't know what you're talking about.
There you go. Right. He might not want to be known as an owner and not have that pegged on him. You never know. But I do know this, Bobby, the Jason Bunker announcement. I'm personally excited over that. When Jason was with Justin his first year under Aaron, and then a little bit later on, and he's also been helping out with Tony Gerardo. So capable guy. And it's going to be interesting to see what they can do over there, Paul Lees.
Oh, yeah. By the way, here's a little bit of insider information. Guess who will be assisting the one and only editor of CompetitionPlus.com at the Charlotte 4-wide.
Oh, I think you're referring to Darren, right?
Darren Williams will be working right alongside of me. We brought him in at Bakersfield, and he learned stuff on the video side, and now we're going to start teaching him stuff on the writing side. And Thomas Pope, veteran motorsports writer, the best in the business. I call him – I basically say having Thomas Pope on your staff is like having Nolan Ryan in your bullpen, if you guys are old enough to know who Nolan Ryan is. And it's just we've got a great team here, especially with you guys in there, that we're just keep building and building. And we're not doing this for people to look and say, hey, look at us. No, we're here to do the job and make sure that we keep our readers in the know for drag racing. And one other thing, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube page, man, you're missing out, because we have had some killer content that's come out here lately, especially with that Les Mayhew Nitro America, that masterpiece from Bakersfield that went up. And we got another one coming, another masterpiece from Les Mayhew coming out, which will chronicle the final event, or as we say, the final event at Houston Raceway Park. And over the years, the memories, the legends, the everything. But and you can't miss my Friday night epic video, the most annoying sound in drag racing.
I saw that. Yes.
I just had to do that, man. Anybody who has had to sit through one of those races and hear that doggone tire squealer going up and down the track, it's just like, nails on a chalkboard,
It definitely is, for sure. Well, Bobby, look, you got anything else for us?
That I'm about all insidered out now.
All right. Well, look, speaking of some of the great content and Darren working alongside the team there at Charlotte, we've got the featurette piece from him that he's been providing here for several weeks now. Again, guys, great content on Competition Plus, the YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe. You can see from current to the classics right there.
One more thing. I do have a story coming up. It might rub some the wrong way. Lord knows I'd never write anything that rubbed people the wrong way from time to time. And this is about Atlanta Dragway and how it was always built as a political pawn in drag racing. So stay tuned.
Interesting. All right, Bobby, thank you.
Thank you.
On April 9th, 1999, at the spring race from Houston Raceway Park, Larry Dixon was stunned the drag racing world by becoming the first driver in history to go sub 4.5 seconds in a quarter mile with a blistering 4.486 elapsed time. However, just 6 months later at the same track, Gary Scelzi, who was in the middle of a tense battle with Tony Schumacher for the Top Fuel Championship, with just 2 races left to go in the season, would not only defeat Schumacher in the semifinals to keep his Slim Championship hopes alive, but also steal Dixon's record away by 0.6 of a second, laying down the quickest run in the history of the sport at 4.480. Ironically, Scelzi would meet Dixon in that final round in the fall race at Houston, and in the battle of the only 2 men to dip into the 40s, Dixon would get a little revenge.
Unbelievable 459 for Larry Dixon. He fitted into that window of a 457 to a 462.
Larry Dixon has already begun to celebrate. What an incredible day, Larry, for you and the whole team.
Oh, gosh, what can I say? Dick LaHaye came on board, and he's got our car going down the track every single time. When you can get a car to go down the track, you can win some rounds.
59 in the final, it was perfect.
Oh, yeah, and I took probably 3 or 4 from him deed staging, but he's all right with that. I mean, he lets me do my job up there, and I try and do the best I can.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is another special throwback feature brought to you by Competition Plus.
Man, memories certainly have been made at Houston Raceway Park. The alleged last race coming up here this weekend. What a great era that was. Scelzi, Dixon, McClintock, and others involved. What history you think is going to be made this weekend there, Sam, as we got just a few moments before we bring Ed on?
Man, you're going to put me out there like that. But first, I got to say, is there nothing like hearing Larry Dixon on the top end? I can say from the start of his career to the end of his career, he sounded exactly the same. Like, there's something unique about his voice. He would get those 5-6 words out, take that dramatic pause, that deep breath, come in, and then let it all back out, you know, and it's just, it was one of those things that you knew, like, when he was going to speak, it was going to be that great, you know, sound. But history this week, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, Lee, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to say that we may, if weather conditions are not like last year where it stormed, I think we got our big storm out of the way in Gainesville, hopefully for this year. I'm going to say someone in the top fuel ranks is going to try and shoot for a record just because.
Okay.
I'm not going to say which team. I personally have an opinion, and I'm going to say this team is hungry for a win, if you know what I mean. But the two teams that I think will do it will be someone that has not won yet this year and someone that is going to potentially be a back-to-back winner. So I pretty much said that without saying their name.
I look, they did testing at Las Vegas, and testing was successful, and they're throwing out huge mile-per-hour numbers almost, it seems, effortlessly. Another is, not just top fuel, but if the conditions are right, Robert Height and that team, they did it in testing. They laid down a 384 in testing. We're done. Like, yeah, you're done. Like, you have what else is there to do in testing?
Yeah.
Lay down a 384.
Lee, and then this one, it comes in from Scott Mile Pass. Greg Anderson getting that 100th win. Lee, so I have to ask this question, and I wish we still had our insider on, but if Greg Anderson gets that 100th win, will you finally admit that Pro Stock has taken charge?
Well, no. Because right now the storyline has to be top fuel. Nothing against Pro Stock. Really, the storyline is great drag racing, period, overall.
Yeah.
We've got Pro Stock Motorcycle coming back. Looking forward to seeing what those competitors will showcase out on the track, and the storylines there in the championship battle. Again, we've had a great year so far, and going into this event, it's going to be great once again. And there are so many storylines. Steve Torrance, he hasn't won yet. Having a great year though, but he hasn't won yet. Like, wow. Will he pick up the win here in Texas? Erica Enders, I know she doesn't want to see Greg get that 100th win. If this is the last one, she wants this Houston one. She always wants Houston, but she's going to want this one.
Oh yeah, I don't want to say this is a backyard race for her, but it's a hometown race. It's a Houston race, Houston, and then going to the over near Dallas with the Stampede of Speed. You cannot want nothing more than want those two races. Those are in your backyard. Being a Texas girl through and through like she is, she wants this, and the history of there for her, just like it is for Vegas. It's a hometown race. So I already know, who my picks are for this weekend, but I am going to say I think we're going to see across the board from the Force team. I think just with the history with John and everything, I think we will see some bigger numbers come out of the Force camp. Like I said, Greg is going to be shooting for that 100th win for the Pro Stock. Erica's going to be hungry for another win back to back. But there's another Texas boy, and now I'm just going out there and saying it. Top Fuel is going to have a Force trying to, I think, set a record, and you are going to have the Capco boys saying, nah, this Texas trophy is staying in Texas.
Well, the fact is, in every professional category, there are representatives from the state of Texas. So it's a possibility that we could have a Texas sweep. Now, some other classes.
How cool would that be? How cool would that be?
That would be cool. That would be stellar to see. It'd be actually very interesting to see if that's happened in any state at any time, and it's been all representatives from a state at a national event. That'd be very interesting to know. That is like a Bob Fry, Brett Kepner type of question. That would be cool to know. Look, we need to bring Ed on. He's a cool dude. People need to get to know him. He's got a great announcement. He's been hanging on for a while. So let's get Ed on right now after this break. How about that, Sam?
I agree.
And look, we're going to play the Competition Plus apparel commercial. You need to get you some swag, maybe not a mask no more, even on airlines, but get the t-shirt.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
Ed Federkeil, man, good to see you. How's it going?
It's going good, guys. How y'all doing?
Man, doing great. Talking drag racing, cannot complain whatsoever.
Nothing like it. Nothing like talking about drag racing.
It's a great American sport. We're trying to keep it alive, keep it growing, keeping it from tracks closing down. But, I mean, as long as we've got great people like you in the sport, I think we can continue to keep it growing and keep it thriving.
Absolutely. And you know, you guys mentioned Palm Beach. That's where I cut my teeth. That and the old Miami Hollywood. And I watched that place, you know, as a boy growing up, going there to now it's a subdivision. And, you know, Joe Costello's doing excellent work, you know, heading the charge up here and to try to keep that place alive and well. And there was an announcement today. It sounds like they're going to postpone this decision till September, which is not uncommon. And hopefully that works in our favor to garner enough support to try to keep the gates open.
For sure. You know, Joe was there at the meeting and kind of tweeting on it, and he mentioned there was that small victory. It didn't save the track, but as you kind of mentioned, hey, at least it might have bought some time to figure something out for that track and for that region. It's my understanding that really if Palm Beach goes away, there's not much down there for the drag racers.
No, there isn't. You know, we have a small 8th mile track in Immokalee, but there's nothing of the caliber of Palm Beach International. Dick Moroso used to own the track years ago and kind of built it into an iconic racetrack to where at one time it was an NHRA facility and we had a divisional race there every year. And that was great for me being based in South Florida because I could drive an hour away and, you know, I'm at an NHRA points event. You know, they've expanded it to a road course. They run the vintage cars, motorcycles. It would be a real shame if they closed the gates on that because that would leave a huge gap in South Florida motorsports.
Yeah, and just to talk about it, I mean, you know, reading the articles and kind of doing some research of friends that live in that area, seems like there's a younger group of car enthusiasts that are kind of taking the helm at saying, hey, no, we want this place open. This place means something to us. So with you, you know, being involved in that being in your backyard, how do you feel knowing that there's a younger generation that wants to keep, you know, the motorsports and the car culture alive?
Well, I think it's important to our sport and it's important to car culture in general that if the young generation doesn't get involved on some level or another and come out to the racetrack and build their hot rods, you know, there's no telling, you know, when we would be extinct as far as that goes. You know, there's got to be a fresh young group coming up and carrying the torch, and it's refreshing to know that's happening.
All right, Ed, let's dive in. on you. You're a pretty cool dude, and in the ranks in which you're racing in, I think the average fan, and many possibly even watching tonight, they might not have ever heard of Ed Federkeil. But like, I'm gonna bring the picture of the hot rod up. Good looking hot rod. Talk to me about your car and how long you've had it, and do you still hold the record? Do you still hold it?
Well, NHRA resets the records after 2 years, but ironically, you say that we actually reset the record last weekend in Houston at the divisional race, but we were so busy working on the car, we never brought the Division 4 people over to pump the motor, to check cubic inches, and do the paperwork. So I'm sure we can get it again.
Cool deal. So what are we looking at? Ex-Pro Stocker, and what class are you running in, Ed?
Well, that's a Jerry Haas 2012 Dodge Avenger. It was Chris McGahe's old Pro Stock car that we purchased about 5 years ago. And, it's a Chrysler, and the Chrysler Hemi stuff, the Pro Stock stuff, still around there. And, we decided to go with that platform, and we started out in B-altered automatic, and we've had great success in terms of performance. We haven't won yet in the car. We've run it up and, gone plenty of rounds and gone plenty fast and qualified high. And, we're always a good qualifier, but, that doesn't get you in a winner's circle all the time. And, we actually made a change last year at the end of the year. The class is called Competition Eliminator, but a lot of people refer to it as Complicated Eliminator because there's a lot of moving parts to it that, it makes it very hard to follow and explain. You got to be a hardcore enthusiast to really know the nuts and bolts of it. But, we'd run that B-altered automatic, which is a Pro Stock style motor with carburetors instead of fuel injection, and a 3-speed automatic. Well, our performance was so good in 2020, we actually have been penalized with what they call a personal index. So the index on our class for B-altered automatic is 7.62 seconds. Every hundredth that you go under, 0.6 under, gets tagged onto you personally and changes your index. So in the year of 2020, we lost 0.07 of index, making it harder to run.
Sam, did you hit 700s?
You get in trouble.
Man.
Yeah, we took 300s at Gainesville that year, and we lost 400s at Vegas. So last year at the end of the year, we made a class change, and we put a planetary in the car, a 3-speed Lenco with a converter drive that Bruno Massel manufactures, and we're running B-altered planetary. But we really, we know it's going to be good. We know it's going to be real good. But we haven't enough time to test it. And in the beginning of the year, the air is so good. Even with that 700s tacked on to us, we felt we still could be competitive without risking this new class and getting into a position where we could, hurt ourselves and lose index in that class as well.
Seeley, this is why I like heads-up racing. You don't get penalized. Like, no penalties for doing no, it's not okay.
Well, we don't get penalized for winning. Okay, there is no breakout, but they have a system in place called competition index control because you got to keep the playing field level because you're running so many different types and engine combinations. It's weight to horsepower that there's got to be some sort of parity, and it's important to our class that system is in place. Do I like it that I took a little bit too much stripe on one or another and I get hurt? That's all part of the game. And if you want to race, those things are going to happen, and you got to work harder to kind of make it back up.
It is an interesting class. The few times I was able to go up to the line and film you when you had the Strutmasters deal, there'd be time like, wow, he's lining up against that. And the combinations are wild in the area of the NHRA that you're competing in.
Yeah, and I think Joe puts it best. You know, he always says if you listen to him, you know, at the track when he's doing the PA announcement, he says, you know, if you can build a car, there's a class for you in competition eliminator, and that's what makes it so interesting. And it's ultra competitive. You know, and a lot of people, you know, they come and look at what we're doing and they go, "Oh my God, you should be running pro stock instead of this." And you know, trust me, pro stock's a lot more than comp, but this requires a lot of work, a lot of time investment, a lot of money investment to be competitive. And, you know, if you're not in it to win it, you know, you may not want to come out because there's, you know, it's expensive and it's a lot of hard work. And, you know, I raced super gas in the early days, and, you know, it was funny because one of Daryl Gwynn's crew members went with me to the race one time, to a points race in Gainesville. And because he had nothing going on, and it was at the end of the year. So he comes up there, we come back from a run. He's like, "Okay, what are we going to do?" I said, "Man, put the battery charger on it, put some gas in it, sit down in a lawn chair." You know, you're not doing that in comp. You got to pull springs, run your valves, swap the tires, pack the chutes, look at the computer. You know, it's almost as labor intensive as a pro stock car, but not quite, you know, the money investment, but not far.
So, and talking about your career, I mean, not just drag racing, I can kind of see it above your head there, the act, being a firefighter and doing the things that you've done. What does that mean to you, you know, having that kind of career in the fire industry?
Well, it's a passion. It's like racing. It's a passion. And, you know, when, you know, I tell people this, they don't even, it's hard for young guys to comprehend it. You know, when I started about 40 years ago, you know, I took the job for $6 an hour, and here you know, I'm running and burning buildings for $6 an hour. People goes, "Are you crazy?" Well, you know, you got to love it, you know, to do it and to help people and to, you know, be able to risk your lives for your brothers and sisters and others, you know, and it's rewarding. I've had some incredibly rewarding experiences in my career. You know, I miss it terribly. I mean, my old firehouse is right by my shop, so 10 times a day those rigs are, you know, running by the shop, and I'm like, I pop up from behind my desk, like, where are they going? You know, so you know, it's definitely something that stays with you, you know, long after you've left the firehouse, you know.
And yeah, and the reason why I asked that,
No, go ahead, Sam.
The reason why I asked that question is kind of a two-part question. Is one, being a firefighter, when did you find time to work on the race car and get to the racetrack? And two, are they pretty much like the attention to detail when it comes to the racing and, you know, what you're doing? Is the attention to detail similar to what you guys have to do when you're out on a route or out on a call?
You talking as far as comparing the racing to it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, you want to be safe. You know, you're not going to make a pass with the chute stuck in the passenger side and the door closed on them. No different than you're not going to go into a burning building without your breathing apparatus to make sure you can breathe. So, yeah, there are some parallels there that, you know, the separation is in the preparation. You know, you're going to perform on the fire ground if you play like you practice. And the same thing goes in racing. If you test and you take care in the preparation of the race car and you keep your mind and your body, you know, in tip-top shape, those are things that will make a difference. And, you know, they could save your life.
Ed, with your background as a firefighter and looking at drag racing safety, has there been times where you look at your profession and industry and then look at what you're doing, if I may say a hobby, though I don't mean it to its amateur level in saying that, and you go, why don't we have this in drag racing when we have this over here, safety-wise?
Well, I think in the early days that might have been a topic of discussion, but I think the NHRA has done such a tremendous job with the safety safari and how it's evolved. And, you know, they have many professional firefighters that do it on a part-time basis and work at these events, and the equipment is as good as it could be, and that's a big part of it, in the training, so you may have been able to have that discussion 25 years ago, but now I think that they've done a tremendous job, as well as any form of motorsports, NASCAR, IndyCar. Our safety safari guys are top notch, and I appreciate those guys like you wouldn't. Hope you never need them, okay? But I appreciate them.
Certainly, the Safety Safari has gained a reputation of being one of the top safety groups out there in motorsports that's dedicated to the job. They have got it done for decades now. I mean, I can remember the classic footage of, I don't know who it was in the 80s, but he always wore a white suit. And he's just diving into a funny car to try to get a guy out. Like, dude, you're one bad dude.
No, they're certainly an asset, to our sport. And, I support them 100%.
So retiring from drag racing, as you did, and coming back, what lit that fire underneath you to come back?
Honestly, I can't put my finger on it. I tell a story. I said I was getting out of bed to go to the bathroom, and I hit my head on the nightstand, and I woke up, and there was a truck and trailer and a race car in the shop. Because honestly, I do remember part of it. I mean, to me, it was kind of unfinished business. When I abruptly left the sport about 25 years ago, I didn't feel I'd accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish. I'd won national events, I'd won divisional races, never won a championship, got real close in 91. And, I always said that, you never want to look back and say, I wish I would have. I want to look back and say, I can't believe I did that. And that's kind of, the mantra of why I did it. And I called, a very good friend of mine that I couldn't do it without him. And I called him up and I said, man, this is what I'm going to do. And he said, are you bleep crazy? And, the rest is kind of 5 years of history. And, we've assembled some good equipment. We've got great talent. I got the best in the business that helps me. And my dear friend, best man at my wedding, Fast Freddie North, he takes care of all logistics, because when I decided to do this, because I'm running a business, okay, and I can't do all the day-to-day stuff. And, Fred would come in the shop for 20 years. When we going racing? When we going racing? I go, Freddie, get it out of your head. We ain't never going racing again. And he'd come back next month. Go, come on, bro. When we going to go racing? I go, Freddie, I'm not going to do it. I got a house and the keys. I like to fish. I'm doing this. I'm going to be retired. And then one day I called him up. I said, Freddie. He said, what? I said, we're putting the band back together. And me and him had a meeting. And I said, Freddie, if we're going to do this, you got to handle logistics. You got to handle the truck, the trailer, getting the car to the races, because I got to make the money to make it run. I got to handle working on getting sponsors. I got to take care of business at the shop. And he said, you got it. And the man has never let me down. And, another very important member is Kip Weaver. I mean, he's our shop foreman at our truck and automotive accessory store. And, when I decided to do this, I pulled him in the office and I said, hey, you know what? I'm thinking of doing this. Would you like to be a part of it? And he said, I'm in. And he's been in ever since. And it's just great to have a team like that, because it makes everything so much easier to do when you surround yourself with good people. And I got a wife and a daughter that support this. My daughter just got her NHRA license at Frank Holly's in December. And that was a proud moment for me. She's 18 years old. And, I never put a baseball bat in her hand or stuck a steering wheel in her hand. And when she decided she wanted to do this, it was huge. And she's a badass. Okay. So proud. I just want to smile about it. And, that's what it takes to race. It's what it takes to be successful. And we haven't proved that success yet, but I promise you we will. And we got a lot of great things ahead, and we got good people. And one of the biggest, things is David Nickens, who longtime friend. When I stopped back in the early 90s, I helped him out with his Pro Stock car and did the clutch for him when he first started racing Pro Stock. When 35 cars would show up for 16 spots. And, a lot of times it was me, my wife, his wife, Karina, and just the four of us at the racetrack, preparing and servicing a Pro Stock car. And, and we qualified at some events, and that was a huge undertaking back then. And, he's one of the great minds in motorsports, a living legend in Comp Eliminator, and he's another guy that I could not do it without. And I thank him every day, because there is no way I could do it without those guys.
All right, let's tie it all together to get to probably like the actual reason why you're here. The firefighting, the drag racing, sponsorships, all coming together to help a charity, and that charity being Tunnel to Towers Foundation, apparently on the car in Houston. So explain to us this charity and the opportunity that's been presented before you to apparently put them on the car and showcase off this charity and raise some money.
Well, and that's what it's all about, raising money for the foundation. This foundation was founded by Frank Siller, whose brother Steven Siller was a New York City firefighter. And on 9/11, Steven was actually going to play golf, and as a lot of firefighters do, they monitor the radio when they're off duty. And he was made aware of the North Tower getting hit, and is what anybody that's that engaged in the profession would do. He got his bunker gear and he started to drive there. And at the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, he couldn't go any further because they had to shut the tunnel shut down. So he grabbed his gear, ran through the tunnel, ran to the World Trade Centers, where he saved a lot of lives before he lost his own. And in his memory, his brother Frank has created this incredible foundation that helps so many people. It helps Gold Star families who have lost a loved one, under times of conflict while serving, injured veterans, that they've gone as far as building smart homes for these people to where they can, function and live a normal life for their sacrifice for our country. And that's what it's all about. This foundation helps people that have sacrificed, not only for our country, but for our public safety as well, because this foundation also is very involved with police officers, firefighters killed in the line of duty. They aim at paying off the survivors' mortgages, so the family doesn't have to worry about that. They've already lost a very important part of their family unit. Sometimes that can be financially devastating. And what Frank has done with this is create a mechanism to help these people, and it's $11 a month. $11 a month, and that money does so much good. And you can log on to T2T.org. That's the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org. You can give your $11 a month, and I promise you it's going to help our heroes that have given so much for us, so that we can enjoy our safety domestically and the blanket of freedom, that they fought to provide. And it's something that I'm very passionate about, and I'm very, just serious about. And that's why I'm involved, to help those guys. And I think through our sport, through NHRA, through our fan base, that we can garner more support for the foundation and help more veterans, more Gold Star families, and more fallen first responder families. And it's so important, especially now, that we get involved and do what we can do to help these people.
Oh, we lost. Oh, Sam's. He's handling some other business. Yeah, we've actually got the website. It is in the chat, so folks check that out. And I like the program. $11 playing off of what did happen, and that's an amount that can make an impact, but not make an impact to someone's wallet too terribly. I like that. So this program is on your car for the rest of the year. Is that the case?
It'll probably be on the car for the rest of my career. That's how strong I feel about the organization. And if anybody's coming out to Houston Raceway Park this weekend for the last event, unless Bobby's right, come by the trailer. We're very possibly going to have some Gold Star families, fallen first responder families out there. We want them to feel involved. This is their car, for them to root for it. And we're going to be out there helping to raise money for this very important cause. So come on by the comp pits. And, my guys are out in Houston right now, David's shop, prepping the car, getting it ready to go. And I promise you we'll be ready to go. And we're looking forward to a great race.
Man, looking forward to it. And that's a great program. Well, we haven't had Erica pop into the green room just yet. So I'll keep talking then. Yeah, let's fire away a few more questions here. We got a good fan question from Mike Kristen. He said, who inspired you in competition Eliminator? Dale Armstrong, Ken Vinny, Brad Anderson, David Rampy. Man, going back with some of those names in the comp Eliminator days, back when like Funny Car was in it.
Yeah, that was the old pro comp days when Ken Vinny and Brad Anderson ran in that class. But, he's named some of the best. Mike, to answer your question, you've named some of the best in the business. And, who's won more, races than Rampy. But, my guy is my buddy, David Nickens. He's still holds the second most wins in comp Eliminator with 29. And the guy hasn't competed in about 30 years. So that's a pretty good record to have, where nobody has beat your record after 30 years. And he has done so much for the sport of drag racing, as well as, the class of comp Eliminator. I mean, when you say Rampy and you say Nickens and you say Meropoulos and Vinny Barone and these guys, those were the guys back in the day that raced modified, that moved into the competition Eliminator category when they killed modified. And, they made it what it is today. And, it's a great class. And we've seen a resurgence, where the class was kind of getting a little stagnant, where we weren't getting a lot of participants at an event. And it's almost been born again, you might say, for lack of a better phrase. And a lot of great people have re-entered the sport. And I think it's got a pretty healthy future. And we got 23 cars entered. And a couple of years ago, we might have 12 or 15 or, heck, at points races, we've even seen 2 or 3. And now we're getting close to full field. So, it's making it more fun to be there when you got more cars to race.
So tell us a little bit about the truck business that you have and what all that entails.
Well, when I started my business 34 years ago, I sold drag race parts out of my race car shop, and I had ads in the back of the National Dragster, in the local Moroso paper for the local tracks. And I'm very close with Daryl Gwynn. His shop's right near mine. We've been friends for a long time. And, I was single, and one of his crew guys needed a place, so he moved in with me. His name was Brian Vanetti. And, Brian went out and got a new truck, and he built this truck, and he bought all these parts. And, he came around and said, "Hey, man, we should be building." He was a cool cat. Brian Vanetti was like a guy from 90210. And when we lived together, man, I mean, every time I turned around, we had a different girl in the house that was coming to visit him, and God bless him. But, he built this truck, and he was like, "Man, we should build these trucks." I go, "Brian, are you okay? Nobody's going to buy that stuff here." And again, it's one of them other moments where I don't remember how it even happened. But next thing you know, we're building great trucks in a race car shop. We move from there. We take extra space. We got a retail store now. We have a full retail operation with 8 employees. We do a lot of dealership work where they'll send us a brand new truck. We'll do an upfit on it that they'll sell on the lot, lift, wheels, tires, as well as general accessories. And, it's been a great business. And Sammy, you were asking about how we got to piece everything together. Well, working at the fire department, running my business and running a race car, you want to talk about juggling a lot of stuff. It was pretty hairy there for a while. But the fire department, the way the schedule is, you're on 24, off 48. It gives you that flexibility. I take one shift off, I'm off 5 days in a row. I can go to a race. I take 2 shifts off, I'm off 8. So if I take 3, I'm off 11. I can go catch 3 races, go on the road, not even have to worry about coming home. So the business suffered a little bit because, I was semi-absentee, but you got to do what you love. And I loved all 3 of them, and I still do.
Ed, you're a busy man. You're a busy man.
Yeah, I'm pretty busy. I mean, I get up at 4 o'clock. I work out. I'm in a shop by 5:36, and I don't know any other way to do it. And I think when you stop is when you get old. And you guys do such a tremendous job with this show. I'm a big fan. We got so many great people that have built this sport and contributed to this sport. I mean, you mentioned Strutmaster Chip Lofton. I mean, that guy put me back in the seat. I couldn't have done what I did in 2020 without Chip's help. And it's great to see people like that invest in our sport. And, it's just something that really, really, really we could use a lot more of. More people need to get involved. More companies need to get involved. We are the most accessible form of motorsports. You go to a NASCAR race, you guys can get in because you have press credentials. You ain't getting in the garage without Garage Pass. NHRA, every single ticket holder has got a pit pass, can get up close with a super gas car to a top fuel car. What's better than that for the fan experience? Those are some of the selling points when we try to bring people into our sport, is that you ain't going to find anything like this. You got a ticket, you can get up close and personal.
For sure. Well, Ed, look, keep on keeping on. We know you will. And look, you're doing it the hard way with that Mopar stuff. Keep plowing your craft, man. I love it.
Hey,
I mean, I love it.
It ain't as hard as you think. We got some pretty good parts. And, we're keeping that thing Mopar pure. And we got a lot of fans that are just Mopar purist. And, we're glad to put that platform out on the racetrack for them so they can root for a true Mopar.
Look, I'm a Ford guy at heart, but I do appreciate and love when people say, I'm going to run a Chrysler, and it's all Chrysler, and all GM, and all Ford. So you, Perninsky, keep up the good work.
Absolutely. Y'all want to take a drink? I just took one.
Sure, let's do it.
Did Erica make it yet?
She is in the green room. Yes, she is.
All right. Well, one drink, and I'll see you guys later.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Take care, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. We'll have to have you again.
Awesome.
All right.
Keely, that's what it's all about.
Yes.
Having fun. Take one for the road.
And look,
I like it.
Again, we've said it on this show before, but there are men and women in the sportsman ranks that are great characters. Ed, I've known Ed for a little while now with the Strutmasters deal, and he's a great guy. And Kip got a great beard, by the way. Kip's got a great beard, and he's a pretty cool dude. And there's a lot of great guys out there in the sportsman ranks that I wish we were able to get their stories out more often and mainstream in the world of drag racing. There are just some cool cats out there in the pits for sure.
Cool cat and kittens, huh, Lee?
No, we're
That's
not.
right. No,
We're not.
I'm
going
just
there.
saying, the Texas Oklahoma theme that we've got going on, especially
Right.
right. gearing up towards the area that we are going in right now with the champ coming on here. I know
you never know,
I've been
the lady we're about to have on. She might be hiding big cats somewhere. You never know.
I don't know. I hope not. I hope not.
If there's anything I learned
having...
from that show, big cat people are strange. Something's up with big cat people.
That's true. I'm not even going to dive down into that hole, but they are strange. I know she's been having some technical difficulties with getting camera and stuff situated, so we'll give a little bit more time. But, Lee, I kind of want to know, as everything stands right now, not points-wise, but how people have been running and how things have shaken out. What are kind of your predictions? We kind of hit on this a little bit earlier, but what are your predictions for just racing in general in a whole here this weekend? Which class do you think, other than, I know you're going to say your beloved Top Fuel, which class do you think is going to stand out a little bit more? Which class do you think is not going to have the showing that they should have? Just, kind of the run-of-the-mill there.
Well, first of all, I think every class is going to have a great showing. I don't think there's going to be a single class that we step away from like, oh, that was not a great racing product on the track. From Pro Stock Motorcycle all the way to Top Fuel, and yes, including Pro Stock, the racing has been stellar at the NHRA Camping World professional level. And I would say it's been great at the Lucas Oil level as well. There's been some great storylines there. I hope we see some more things, even though we're not in the 4-wide scenario. Maybe we find a couple of dual runs and people throw down thousands of dollars and we know about it and it's hyped up from the tower and gets a little TV and YouTube time, just like the 4 competitors in Alcohol Funny Car did there at Las Vegas. So maybe something like that happens. I am looking to see if Ron Capps can repeat. Can he get that second win as an owner and just make that much more of a statement? He's already made a great statement, but just take it that much further and say, transition or not, we are going to truly defend that 2021 title.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, like I said, Lee, and we've talked about it numerous of times. There's a lot of different storylines that we're kind of following. We're hoping to see shake out. So who knows? I mean, like I said, a couple of days away from what is going to be maybe the historic Houston race, or maybe, a little shake up in the hat like Bobby mentioned before. But, I know we do have Erica ready to go. So if we want to jump to a commercial break and bring her back, it will be audio only, but we will have Erica Enders here with us.
Well, let's do it, Sam. We're glad to have on board, along with Weldon High Performance, Holly as well. In particular, their hot rod LED lights. If you want to light up the night, you need the bright of LED, and Holly is the people you need to check out first. After this word from them, it's Miss Erica Enders.
Classic car owners, make your headlights over twice as bright with Holly Retro Bright LED headlights. A plug-in replacement for those dim halogen seal beams, Retro Bright maintains that classic look and lasts 6 times longer. Stay safe and click the link below to learn more.
Erica Enders, can you hear us?
I am here. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes. Good to have you on the show. Thank you once again for coming on the Competition Plus Power Hour.
I've been listening to y'all. I kept logging off and back on because I didn't think you could hear me.
Well, we got you now. So we're good to go.
This is where we need Courtney, the technology savvy guru.
All right, E. So you know how I feel. Big, huge win again in Vegas. What is it, that you guys have dialed in together? What is it about Vegas where you cannot bet against Red?
I don't know. I wish it treated me the same on the tables as it does the drag strip, but honestly, I wouldn't trade the success on the drag strip for anything. For for whatever reason, Vegas is our racetrack. It's the place where I scored my first win with Elite Motorsports, with the K&N Challenge win on Saturday, coming back and winning the national event on Sunday for the $100,000 double up bonus. In 14, won the race in the fall, came back and did the exact same thing in 15, all 3 of those races, and then altogether nine in total. So it's just kind of, I mean, it's crazy and surreal and all of the things, but you know, even when I'm not on my best behavior out there behind the wheel of that Melling Performance Chevy Camaro, we seem to be able to turn on win lights, and I'm not going to question any of that. I'm just thankful that it swings our way.
So, Erica, we're going to the hometown track. You have a ton of memories at Houston Raceway Park for sure. With this one, as now it is alleged last national event, with all the rumors swirling of the future of this particular facility and a national event at it, the fondest memory that you have that comes to mind at the moment of that track? Professional, junior dragsters, maybe the hamburger was just right that day. I don't care. What's the fondest memory?
Oh, Lord help. Am I allowed to pick more than one?
Sure, go ahead.
I mean, this track opened back in the 80s, right? My sister Courtney and I grew up watching our dad race in the sportsman ranks out there. You know, I thought it was his crew chief with the little red shop rag in my back pocket, and he'd let me ride his dial in with the shoe polish on his window. And, you know, this was all before the Junior Drag Racing League was even developed. So my memories there start way, way, way long ago. But as far as being on track as a driver, you know, my first race in a junior dragster when I was 8 was at Baytown. It was an all-girl final with me and a girl named Jessica Teggy, and we were able to come out with a win. Then you go to the year 2000 when I didn't graduate high school till 2002. I'm dating myself a little bit, but so the year 2000, I'm just 16 years old, right? I just got my super comp license at Frank Hawley's drag racing school. And that was my sweet 16 birthday present, by the way. My dad flew me to California to get my license, and we came back and we made a final round appearance at Houston against my good friend Jimmy Lewis. I lost by 0.03 of a second in that final, but was the youngest national event finalist of all time at that point. But came back and sealed the deal in 2004 in Super Gas. And that race was probably the most significant moment of all time because it's what got me my driving deal in Pro Stock. So I had just completed, I went back to Frank Hawley's school and completed my alcohol funny car license and was working with a Nitro funny car team to go drive for them. And instead of saying that when asked this question, I said that they asked me in the media room after we won Super Gas, what is your next step? What are your plans? Where do you want to go from here? And knowing that I just completed my alcohol funny car license and was working with a Nitro funny car team, what came out of my mouth was, man, I'd love to drive Pro Stock. So I'm not sure why that flew out of my mouth, other than the fact that that was always my favorite thing. As a kid, I would sit, you know, in a laundry basket on the living room floor and pretend like I was driving one, you know, watching the footage on television, shifting and letting out on the clutch. And that was always my jam. And so that's what flew out of my mouth. And Bob Fry, Victor Cagnazzi, Stevie Johns, they all heard that interview. And within the next few weeks, I was on a plane to Charlotte, North Carolina to meet with Victor Cagnazzi and the folks up there. And never having let a clutch out on one of those cars, I was hired to drive. And that was the beginning of the rest of this whole debacle. So 2004 was a huge deal for me, winning Super Gas there. And then just quickly to touch on Pro Stock, 2014, my first year with Elite Motorsports, we won Houston, and we came back in 2015 and won Houston again. So lots of really great memories, but those are the ones that stick out the most. And 14 mostly because that was the first Pro Stock win that my dad was ever present for. And, you know, my entire family was there. So it was very significant.
Sam, that's the rest of the story, I tell you right there.
That was a really long answer to your question, but
no, it was a good one. It was a great one. No, thank you for the information. Ton of fond memories there, for sure. And look, I know the Pro Stock competition is the steepest it's probably ever been in many cases.
And putting Lee, and go ahead and say it, it's putting on the best show in NHRA drag racing right now, hands down.
Okay, yes. So, but I know there's got to be a lot of feelings going into this race, and sentimental and emotional favorite, definitely Erica Enders this weekend. We do hope you get it done.
Definitely. I'm in.
It'll be back to back for you. I think that'll be really great. But then you have, a tidbit from your sister, your media guru. You have a lot going on here this week with something big, especially tomorrow night, throwing the opening pitch for the Astros. How does that feel?
So that's super awesome. I just got done writing a quote for the press release regarding that first pitch, and it's just super surreal. I bleed Houston, Texas through and through. I'm never shy to express my love for the state and for my hometown. And, no matter how much I travel or where I'm at or whatever, home is always where the heart is, right? And my family's here, and this is my home. So to be able to be asked to throw out the first pitch by the Houston Astros organization tomorrow in my hometown, in front of family and friends, for my favorite MLB team is pretty surreal. I mean, I was talking to my sister earlier, just kind of making a list of all of the really awesome opportunities that we've been given because of drag racing. And, top of my list, off the top of my head is being able to go to Iraq and Kuwait and Germany and visit our troops, and then fly with the Thunderbirds in an F-16 fighter jet. But this is total top 10 moment for me just because of the hometown deal. I love Texas. I love Houston. I love the Astros, and it's just going to be a really cool moment. And I prefaced all of that by saying baseball/softball was a sport that I never played. I played a lot of sports through high school and college, but that was never one of them. And then with my recent elbow surgery, I was saying not to expect any sort of fast pitch by any means, but it's definitely going to be a very cool experience. I get to have a jersey. They put Enders on the back of it with number 1. And that'll be framed proudly in my office for sure, but just a super surreal moment. And I'm so thankful for the chance. So big thanks to Josh Hatchett and the great folks at NHRA and the Houston Astros for allowing me that opportunity.
That is so cool and such a big deal for you and the sport, because they're going to announce, and coming to the mound is Erica Enders, blah blah champion, pro stock, NHRA. Da, da, da. I mean, that's so cool. And I didn't know you could throw a ball, so that's information for me too. That's cool.
Well, let's not talk about that until after the fact. But I played volleyball and basketball.
Lee.
I ran track and played golf, but baseball was not my jam. But I played catch with my dad yesterday and today, so hopefully a little bit of practice will help me get it to the plate.
All right, Lee, here we go. Over on under. Okay, Erica, are you standing actually at the mound? Or are you not going to stand at the mound?
Okay, so I'm not going to stand on top of it because I'm afraid I'll ground it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to stand basically on the same elevation as home plate. So still on the red, but more level with the playing field. So I Googled it. It's 60 feet, 6 inches from the pitcher's mound to home plate. So in my Milling Performance Chevy Camaro Pro Stock car, we do the first 60 feet in 950, 960. And I'm definitely not going to throw the ball that fast.
Lee, should we take a bet now?
Why are you doing this to me, Sam?
I think the bet needs to go out there.
This affects your goodies delivery, if you know what I'm saying.
Look, this is it's important for drag racing, because yes, drag racing is going to get mentioned, and literally it's on the mound at a major league game. But it's also important because, Erica, we just got to get to the catcher's mitt. It's got to get there. Did we lose
she's
her?
muted.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, Erica, I just had to give you a little bit of crap. But Lee, and Erica, it doesn't stop there. Like I said, have an insider in this whole thing, TV studio, and a visit with the women's soccer team.
What about the women's soccer team?
That's the information that I received from your sister.
Uh-oh.
Said something and we lost her. Well, yeah. And they have a friend
from the air. You can't release that one yet.
Uh-oh. And I get this one also. They have a UFC fighter that's a friend, Derek Lewis, that's going to actually be coming and hanging out in their pits with them here this weekend. So, I mean, a lot of cool stuff. Like you said, you know, that hometown race for her, getting that chance to throw the first pitch. I mean, I'm still stuck on that. I mean, that right there puts drag racing on the map. I mean, CNN has wrote a couple of reports about us, you know, different things like that. But having your own local person in your backyard saying that, I agree. I'm calling strike, but I just didn't know. You know, we see sometimes how much of a hater Lee can be on the door slammer guys and girls. I just didn't know if he would say it wouldn't make it to the mound or anything like that. So, you know, it is what it is.
Well, I will say, look, very cool, all that getting worked out, NHRA, and I'm sure Courtney's involved and Erica being willing because, and the more that our sport gets out there and is mentioned in the mainstream, the better. I know Caleb Cox, who crews Petragon Racing, does a great job of bringing celebrities out and enjoying the races and using that as a marketing platform. But man, that's so cool.
You speak of Caleb Cox and Cruz. Finally, a year later, I have a video that will be finally dropping. A certain individual, Lee, go ahead, give me crap. But I have a video that will be dropping of a certain individual giving Cruz a little bit of crap in between rounds there at Houston during the rain. All I'm gonna say is he knows it.
He knows it.
So stay tuned. Stay tuned to Outlaw Performance ENT. I get a laugh every time I think about that or when I'm editing that video. Thanks to Snowmageddon that came down and locked me in the house for a couple of days. I got some stuff pre-Houston going on. I'm going to try and call Erica and see if we can get her on the phone. But yeah, we did lose her, but I mean, that's the technical difficulties of going live.
Yes, apparently it is. She is up in Oklahoma, if that's where she was calling from. Like, there's nothing there, and I mean, I can tell you, you know, there's not much up there.
I think she's already in the Houston. I think she's already in the Houston area via going to the game tomorrow. Well, we did not get her, and unfortunately, you know, that's the part of traveling and being live on air. But, you know, we did get some great information, and, you know, the history and with Erica has done and what she's still going to do. You know, I think if we would have asked her the most dreaded question that I think she never wants to hear, really wants to answer is, you know, how does she feel about potentially Greg getting that 100th win? I think it's great, you know, for the sport, great for Greg, but, you know, I think at the end of the day, she wants to, you know, take home that take home that Wally, you know, for the hometown team. So a lot of great things to look forward to, Lee. A lot of great, you know, racing and videos coming out just to tell the history of what Houston has meant. And I don't think, that, you know, we honestly give these tracks and give everything the spotlight that they need until we find out that they're closing. So I think we should all do a better job at, you know, telling the history. Something that Bobby Bennett does great and Darren has done a really good job at is telling the history of these tracks and the significant and important events that have gone on. But yeah, Lee, I mean, another great show that we had tonight here. Any closing remarks from you?
Well, at the moment, I'm just looking
Oh,
and
Erica just popped back in.
trying
I'm gonna bring her
to
back
find
on.
information on the
Sorry,
games.
guys.
You're okay. You're okay. We look, ever since I asked you, like, what do you stream? And you're like, I don't stream. I know that technology and you, it's okay. It's okay. We
I'm like, what
understand.
is streaming?
Yes, you were. It's like, like, I don't know what to say in this interview now. She doesn't know what I'm talking about. So, who are the Astros playing, by the way? Do you know?
No, I probably
Oh.
should, but I don't.
Oh, okay. It
But
doesn't matter.
honestly, if you
Rose.
ask me who I'm racing on Sunday, I also don't know that answer. So that's kind of my mindset.
There we go.
There you go.
So, back on the racing topic, I have encountered going in and out of the pits that I go in and just talking drag racing. A lot of people want to see you drive different drag cars. So, not the typical, what do you want to drive, but how does it make you feel that people think so much of you as a racer that they want to see you in a Nitro Funny car? They want to see you in a factory stock car. How does that make you think of yourself and your abilities?
Well, I mean, it means a lot to me. I feel like no matter what car I get into, I'll be able to do it. Having said that, when I first started racing pro stock, that was definitely not the case. I had to. It was a steep learning curve, but I think it's absolutely the hardest car to drive and a really great one to learn every aspect of the sport in. So, again, having said that, I feel confident getting in any car because it's a clutch car with a 5-speed Liberty, right? And it's all about finesse and being able to just nail the things that are so important, and the alcohol funny car was hard to drive, right? It was a clutch. You didn't leave with a clutch, but you had to shift. So it was definitely challenging. So any automatic race car that you get into from that point will definitely be a little bit easier. But I don't want to use that word easy because none of it is easy. Sorry for the sirens. I'm in Houston. But yeah, I feel really great about my ability behind the wheel of any car.
She's a pure champion, Lee. I mean, let's be honest.
I agree.
The GOAT.
Thank y'all for saying that.
But so before we got disconnected there's a big I don't want to say elephant in the room, but there's an elephant in the room. There's still a chance of Greg getting that 100th win. If it comes down to the final round, Greg in one lane, Erica in the other, and what does that mean, one, for the sport, and two, what does that mean to Erica?
Are you asking me that?
Yes.
I mean, I think it's great for the sport. There's no love lost between Greg and I, but there's definitely a mutual respect there. He's definitely extremely smart and talented, and what people don't know about Greg is nobody can outwork him. He puts in the hours. It's the absolute priority of his life, and his results on the racetrack show that. Again, having said that, we work really hard at Elite Motorsports and Elite Performance to outperform those guys, and that's a tall order. any racetrack we pull in the gate in. So, he will definitely get his 100th win, and I'm not sure where he wants to go with his career from there. But I also think on the other side of it, it speaks volumes for our minute success. I only have 35 pro stock victories, but we're right there in the same realm of equivalence in world championships. So I just feel like we have a great operation, a great team, and I'm really proud to be the driver of that. And I know that the sky is the limit. It just depends how long we all want to do it.
With you mentioning how long you want to do it, and I'm sorry, it seems like every time we have you on the show, I'm like, thinking about long term, and I'm not trying to, like, oh, get out of the seat, Erica. No, we want you in there as long as possible. But I had a self observation of the sport. There was a time and period it was Shirley. There was a time and period it was Angel, and the baton has been passed on to you, if you'll allow that. Who do you think is an up-and-coming female, no matter what the rank may be, that could possibly take the baton past you and further on in the sport?
Well, I mean, the NHRA is extremely blessed with successful, hardworking, level-headed females. You with exception to a couple, you don't find many of us in in swimsuit edition magazines or whatever. We're just at the racetrack working hard, and we gain our notoriety there. So if I had to choose, I feel like Alexis DeJoria just really has everything that it takes. She's got the same mindset. She's extremely hardworking. She comes from a great family. She loves the sport through and through. And she's really talented. She's just all the stars have got to align. And once that floodgate opens, it'll continue to pour. Leah Pruitt's another one that has worked hard. Her and I both grew up junior drag racing together and both worked our way through the Sportsman League. And she's driven Nostalgia Funny Car and Pro Mod as well. And, married to Tony Stewart now and in a top fuel dragster. Like, I could go down the laundry list of people. Brittany Forrest, her dad's John Forrest. She's sponsored by Monster Energy. Like, they definitely have the funding and the team. And, all of the avenues for success are wide open for all of these girls. And I'm not sure if I had to choose one in particular who I would choose, but I'm going to go with my girl, Lex.
I like that choice. No, she's got a swagger to her. She's just cool.
She does.
Yeah.
She's way cool. And people forget her dad is John Paul. They own these empires of Paul Mitchell and Patron, and you would never guess it in a million years by hanging out with her, talking to her. She is as humble and kind and cool and real. I mean, she wears Dickies and Chucks, and she's got a sleeve, and she's just a real chick, man. She's awesome.
No, and that's what our sport is made of. And like you said, humbled and really great women that we have to, set examples for the younger women that are coming into the sport or interested in the sport. I've got to ask a team question though. You guys' team, the Elite Motorsports Camp, has a heavy hitting entourage, I'd say, when you guys come to the track, right? I mean, you guys come in and I want to say there's 7 cars. 6 or 7 cars. How does that feel to know that you guys on either side of you have a car that could be in the final rounds any given week?
Again, I think it speaks volumes of our team. Jeg drove for many years before. TJ I can't speak highly enough about TJ. He is a student of the game. He tested Jeg's car in Bradenton when he first got his license, and honest to God, like being there and helping him and watching him, like driving Jeg's car with Jeg Coughlin Jr. on the window, you would have never known the difference if a rookie was in the seat or if Jeg was in the seat through his burnout and staging procedure. Every rookie goes through some experiences that suck and that are challenging. But that's not what's important. It's how you rebound from those moments. And I really feel like TJ's absolutely a world champion in the making. You move from him to Aaron Stanfield, who is a factory shootout world champion multiple times. His father's Greg Stanfield, who raced pro stock and finished second in the world a couple times. And won in super stock last year for the world championship. It was really cool. Father-son world championship success story last year. But Aaron, also student of the game, really just just a great dude. Like, you would think, I don't know how to say that without being perceived wrong, but like, you would think somebody that is capable of what he's capable in wouldn't really care to learn, and he does. He absolutely does, and he tells me that all the time. Like, don't hold back. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. And we go over his graphs, and we talk definitely. Every weekend, all of the drivers at Elite. So, and then moving on from there, Bo Butner, former world champion in multiple classes. Him and Randy Lynn, just awesome people, and proud to have them as part of the team. And then you move on from them to the Quadros. I mean, those two kids are freaking amazing behind the wheel, and they just haven't had equipment equivalent to their ability. And now we're finally with his father, Fernando Sr., getting our arms around everything and putting them behind the wheel of something that they deserve to drive, I shouldn't say that, but like showcase their abilities. And Christian was in the finals in Las Vegas with me and runner up, and had his throttle body not broken, who knows what the outcome would have been of that race. But regardless, he's right there for the taking every single time. Super consistent driver. It just, everybody under our banner is just really talented.
Erica, with this possibly being the last national event at Houston, the obvious talk with any track closing is what potential tracks could hold a national event. And a lot of the Nitro guys get asked this, but it seems like the Pro Stock guys do not get asked the question as much. What are some facilities out there that would cater very well to the pro stockers in general, and you all might like to see added to the national event stable?
In place of Houston, man, I don't know. I hate to miss the huge market here, the fourth largest city in the country, but there have been talks about a track being built in Austin. There's obviously still the Texas Motorplex. Here in Houston, the only track that still remains is Houston Motorsports Park, and super short shutdown area, many crashes and problems there. Honestly, I don't know, but I've heard scuttlebutt about, some improvements being made to Tulsa and a national event being held there. So I don't really know, to answer your question, honestly, but that's all I've heard.
Hey, as we kind of wind it down, we have a question coming in from someone that says, does Erica see herself as a team owner someday?
I know where they get that quote. I did an interview in Vegas, and I mentioned that, like, I've been on the road for 18 years, and, I kind of think and ponder about what's ahead of me, and, the sacrifices that were made to get to where I'm at. And, everybody involved in my story has made extreme sacrifices to make it a possibility for me to be a multi-time world champion. But, at some point, I don't want to be alone forever, right? I had never thought I wouldn't have a family. So, as I'm rapidly approaching 40, I think about those things and kind of, in a way, want a normal life. But I don't even know what that term means after spending 18 years on the road and 31 years racing. So, eventually one day, I'd prefer to be a team owner rather than behind a microphone, like broadcasting, like what Brian Loans and Tony Pedregon. But at the same point, like, I still want to keep some involvement in drag racing. And if I were on the team owner end of it, giving another kid that their whole life got told they couldn't do it, giving them the opportunity to be able to do it would be such satisfaction for me. So, I don't know what the future holds. Only the good Lord knows that. And I'll try to follow his lead, but there's a lot of uncertainty and whatnot. But where I'm at, my home at Elite Motorsports has been unbelievable and a dream come true. And to accomplish what we've accomplished in the short 9 years that we've all been together, is just unreal. So I'm definitely thankful for that opportunity. I'm thankful for the learning experiences that I've had. I feel like it's, you know, attributed a lot of positive things to my life, but I also feel like it's taken a lot from me. So you kind of just have to weigh the good with the bad. And, you know, I've spoke with Shirley Muldowney and, you know, a lot of my lady drag racing friends about it. And we all share a lot of the similar thoughts. And it as much as we don't want to talk about it, it's definitely the female aspect of it is definitely different than if I were a dude. So, that's unfortunate, but it's the genetics we were given. So anyway, long answer again to your question, but I'm not sure what the future holds, but in any aspect of drag racing we're involved in my future, I'd definitely be grateful.
Well, whatever the future may hold for you, wherever it is in drag racing, I know it will have wins and championships in that future, certainly, whether driving, owning, or whatever else, whatever class, whatever it may be. Definitely, you tend to get the job done and hold up whatever trophy is there at the end of the day. Erica, my last question for you. You have as your avatar the great Drag Illustrated cover in which you were featured, one of them, and Drag Illustrated was putting on a great race. They weren't able to put on the World Door Slammer Nationals this year in 2022. Do you and your fellow pro stock competitors happen to chit-chat in the pits and be like, man, we really missed that this year?
Well, I know I missed it. It was definitely a great event. You know, it was originally put together by Wes Buck and Richard Freeman and all of the manufacturers that we deal with on a day-to-day basis in drag racing were so stoked to get on board in the aspect that their money would go back to the racer instead of in somebody else's pocket. So that part of it was really unique and really cool, and everybody seems to be on board. Last year when we ran the Door Slammer Nationals, it overlaid with the Baby Gators, which is the divisional in Gainesville. And I don't think NHRA was super stoked about that, but because we were paying such big purses to win in the super classes and then pro stock and pro mod, so the turnout was definitely different for the Baby Gators, and the schedule was something that was challenging as well. So hopefully in the future, those things can be ironed out, but I can't speak for the guys in charge, but I know as a racer, it was a great race because it catered to the racer and it made you feel like you mattered and it made you feel like you were important. And that's something that, you know, is lost sight of at other events. So that's why these big money bracket races are so cool to go to. And the Door Slammer Nationals is so cool to go to. And the World Series of Pro Mod was so cool to go to because the people that are putting it on are the racers. So they understand how they want to be treated. And hopefully in the future, there's a lot more of those events to come. And I know that I can speak soundly for our 7-car team. And then, you know, in addition to a few other pro stock and pro mod competitors out there, that they thoroughly enjoyed that race. And hopefully it comes back. We'll just, we'll have to see what happens.
Yes, definitely a fun time at those races where, you know, you guys can interact, and you said it yourself, driving into that tunnel of people standing at the starting line was one of the best experiences that you felt as a driver. But my last question for you, E, is the DTBB. We all love to see it. We all love to talk about it. For those that, you know, have that question, when did it start and when can we get our DTBB t-shirts?
All right. So it originated in Charlotte in 2018, where Jake Hairston, one of our lead engine builders at Elite Performance, he's like, screw it, just drive it back. And I'm like, what? No way. I'm going to get in trouble. He's like, who are you going to get in trouble by? And as he's pulling the like plugs out of, I still say scoop plug, but we don't have a hood scoop anymore. But he's pulling the plugs out and he's just like, fire it up. And he threw the parachutes in the car. And Courtney and I drove it back to the pit. And that's where it all started. And honestly, like, hand on the Bible, I pulled into the pit and Courtney said, what'd you just do? And that's what I said. That's what came out of my mouth randomly. It wasn't planned. It wasn't scripted. And it just kind of caught on like wildfire. And you know, a handful of people that are really important to me in my life told me don't say that. That's a cuss word. Don't promote that. And while I understood it, I couldn't help but notice like hundreds of thousands of views on the video and likes and requests for shirts. And so we kind of just ran with it. And to answer the second part of your question, you can get your DTBB shirts at Randy's Hot Rod. Oh gosh, I forget the website, but anyway, Randy Lynn, Bo Butner's fiance, she has a t-shirt trailer out there. So if you're at the racetrack, you can come by it at the t-shirt trailer. If not, after the show, I'll post the link on our fan page, but you can hop online and grab one if you so please. But it's just really kind of a cool tradition now, and we just ran with it. And so every race we go to, fans at the ropes and in the stands, they'll be waving their shirts, and they come get our autograph at the pit and take pictures, and they say, "We hope you drive that bitch back this weekend." So it's really caught on, and it's really kind of neat. And it also sucks that I said that word and I have so many young fans, but at the same time, we're drag racing, we're not on the Disney Channel anymore, and it is what it is.
Not on the Disney Channel
anymore. Yeah, our sequel will have to be on a different channel.
Yeah, on a different.
I like how she threw that in real sly, like, "Oh yeah, and the Disney Channel." That's E for you. But E, as always, like I told you before I was leaving Vegas when you were in the winner's circle, I am your fan no matter what. And thank you for your time. Thank you for what you've done. But I will be watching tomorrow. Please throw a strike, or I will be texting you right away.
At least get it to the plate, right?
Get it to the plate, girl. Get it to the plate.
As long as you're in the batter's box, we're good. But anything way outside,
listen, I'll do the best that I can.
Don't hit the mascot,
Yeah, don't hit the mascot, don't throw a foul ball, don't hit somebody in the stands, don't ground it. I know, I got it. I went to Academy tonight. By the way, baseballs are expensive. I went and bought baseball tonight at Academy to practice some, but it's we'll just do the best we can. How about that?
Cool. I was trying to find when it actually airs on TV, and I cannot find that. It looked like it might have been CBS Sports, but everybody, go watch Erica Enders throw the baseball out. First pitch, cool.
I'm in. Again, we'll do our best, but what an honor to be asked to throw the pitch, and it'll be a great way to kick off the weekend. Hopefully, a super successful weekend at what is presented to be the last race at Houston Raceway Park.
That it is. Well, Erica Enders, we know it's not your last time here on the Competition Plus Power Hour. We thank you for your time. Enjoy Houston this evening, and we will catch up with you at the track.
Sounds awesome. Thank you guys as always. Y'all are wonderful.
Thanks, E.
See ya.
Bye. Dude, she putting drag racing pretty much on her back and saying, "Hey, I'm going out and throwing this first pitch."
I love it. And I like how she mentioned, and whatever the involvement was, she mentioned Josh Hatchett. He's like one of the top guys there in NHRA media, and whatever. People worked all this out, NHRA level and her team, and they got it done. More that needs to happen. When the NHRA comes to town, somebody needs to be on the mound throwing the first pitch out or cutting the ribbon or whatever. I don't care. Figure it out. Get these people, get these stars, rock stars that go over 200 miles per hour and 300 miles per hour that are athletes in their own right. Get them out there.
Exactly. And to the comments there, we can't answer every comment. You have to understand that these drivers that come onto the show are on they have schedules, they have routines that they have to stick to, so we cannot answer every question. Sorry about that. Please don't take personal offense. There's a lot of articles with Erica involved in them, and a lot of media that will tell you any story that you may want to or need to know. But again, just a lot to recap, Lee. I mean, like I said, I'm so worried about this being the last one. I am not going. Baytown, Houston, that area is, traditionally home to me. It's where my mother was raised. That's where I was born, and then moved down to Southern California since my dad was in the military. But it's going to be sad to see this one go. It's where I saw one of my first drag race where one of my uncles raced. He's actually going to watch. So a bittersweet week for me. But I'm erring on the side of this isn't the last one. And that's what I'm gonna believe, and that's what I'm gonna stand true to. So there's that.
It's frustrating, man, and it hurts. I don't have Atlanta Dragway anymore. I haven't even I have gone west like 4 times already this year on the road, and for me to go west, I have to go through Commerce, Georgia, and I cannot bring myself, even though I have a video to do, I have a story that I want to do and put on my channel, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know if I can bear it yet, seeing it just like level. I don't know what it looks like right now. I don't know if it's leveled. I don't know if there's still a tower or what, but it's not in good shape, whatever it is. So it's tough. It's tough. I am thankful, though, that I did get to work with several teams, and I was there once again on a starting line that I had raced on in junior dragsters, but I was there at an NHRA national event working for teams at a professional level, and I can at least take that with me, and that was pretty doggone cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, so much history goes out into each one of these tracks. So like we've always said on this show, we promote it. Get out to those local tracks that you can get to. Support them.
Yes.
Buy
like an Eastside Speedway with 58 years of funny cars. Like, wow.
Yeah. Buy some popcorn, buy, a t-shirt, buy a hat. I mean, it goes a long way. I know, each dollar that we all earn is a hard dollar, that is made, but just go out and support those tracks. Like I said, I mean, I'm not going to get sentimental on here about about Houston, but you never know until it's to that point where it may be gone. So a lot of stuff going on, even though even though Houston's going on, LS Fest is down in Vegas here this weekend at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Even though I am not an LS motor guy, it's still a great event. Steve J. Gold just actually wrote that down. I've heard about it, never been, because like I said, I mean, I hate to see my beloved Mustang with an LS in it. I mean, it's just like, it's one of those things.
Sam. So for everybody's information, the Drive That Blank Back t-shirts, they're $28 on the website. I was scrolling as you were talking, looking at some of the other merchandise. They have a Elite Motorsports, and it says Weed and Speed. That is hilarious. Man,
okay. We're going to take a couple of minutes just to dive into this, because there's so many people that are against everything that's going on in today's society of what people are doing. You have to understand, what's any different of someone going out and getting completely plastered, drinking-wise, the night before? They're hungover, everything else.
Sam.
In this day and age, the medical and the medicinal marijuana industry has come to help a lot of people. And Elite Motorsports, unfortunately, Richard Freeman, what he's doing, he has a great grow facility, and he's a businessman. And businessmen and women make business moves. And that's just that. So at some point, we've had vape companies, we've had tobacco companies, we've had alcohol companies. Big media just has to sometimes accept the fact that this is what is, and that's that. End of spiel. Hey, what were we going to say, Lee?
I think the biggest issue may be legal standings in particular states. But, I mean, at least run the car in Colorado. I don't know.
Colorado, California, Las Vegas. I don't know where else, but
yeah,
I
Las
mean,
Vegas, anything goes. Like anything could be on a car. They have IVs for you to, get bright to go get plastered again. I mean, that's just...
Dude, that's a gold mine. It's an absolute gold mine. walk out of the hotel room, get an IV from a registered nurse, and then there you go again.
Hey, I just know this. You needed an IV after Fugo de Chao that night because you
yeah, because I had the meat sweats from all that bottom bacon and all the other food. I'm telling you right now, when we go back to Vegas, Lee, if you're there, we need to go and eat there again.
Yes, definitely. But it won't be the same. Your friends aren't there no more. They're in Florida now, right?
Yeah, they're in Florida now. So
okay.
Hey. But Lee, man, we could talk about food. We're gonna make all these people hungry. It's 10 o'clock here in the great Midwest and the up north here in North Dakota where I'm at. That means it's 11 on your time zone. But man, another great show here. Had Erica come on, and we had Ed come on. We had the
Ed, great guy. Yes,
great guy, doing great things. Great calls on that car. The Melon Performance with Erica Enders and the Elite Motorsports team. Like I said, if you want to, go and get that, drive that Double B back. Go ahead and support that movement and what's going on there. Lee.
Sam, we had a door car show tonight.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to let you know. Door cars to the front. So, with that being said, Lee.
I love door cars.
No, you don't. No, you're a Top Fuel guy. I don't want to hear it. Anyway, with that being said, Lee, my name is Slammin' Sam, Outlaw Performance ENT, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Please check me out on those. And also like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. That is Outlaw Performance. If you want to check out any crazy things that I do in the motorsports world, that's a Facebook page under Slammin' Sam. Videos coming soon. Podcast is going to be released. We've been recording, and we are going to be shooting out a video about the new direction, the new direction that we want to go in the drag racing and motorsports world. Thank you to Bobby Bennett. Thank you to Lee, you right here, for yakking it up with me every Tuesday night when I am on the show. So, yes, thank you, and thank you. Did you freeze on me, Lee? Are you still there?
No, I'm still here. What are you done?
Yeah, we're done. We're signing out. We've been talking about food. We've talked about everything else, and we talked drag racing. I mean, what else do you want to talk about?
Okay. I'll close it down. Okay. Well, no, not you. Here, I'll take the screen. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, great show. Sam's done a great job. Hey, some content on my side, Buddy Hole Racing Shop Tour. You can check that out on the Monday Morning Racer channel. And also Easter Funny Car Classic. I've been talking about that beautiful Generation X car right there of Robin Stambaugh. Check that footage out on the Monday Morning Racer channel, YouTube channel. And we mentioned Jason Bunker. I've already contacted him. Might very well have him on Thursday night on my show, Between the Slicks. So support right here at Competition Plus. That's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Support it all. Get the scoop on Competition Plus, and make sure you're following Slammin' Sam, and give the Monday Morning Racer a look every now and then. To each and every one of you that have watched, thank you. And until next time, God bless, and keep the pedal to the metal.
In the race for quality, there is no finish line. Jerry Bickle Race Cars is a one-stop chassis shop for drag racing performance parts and race components. For over 50 years, Jerry Bickle Race Cars has been an essential part of racers' plans for building world champion race cars. Our parts department is stocked with every part a racer might need. Log on to jerrybickle.com for more information. We build anything with doors. jerrybickle.com.